Hi guys, welcome to the latest episode of Mamemeister's High Score Kerfuffle. Doing these every 2 weeks definitely feels a lot longer than what we had before, especially when we have games like we've just had. For the past 2 weeks, the game has been Bionic Commando, released by Capcom in 1987. Jaffa highlighted this as a game he hated in one of his recent videos, and I think most of us could see why. I didn't spend a huge amount of time with it, but enough to find the controls extremely limiting, especially when combined with a high level of difficulty. Without a jump button, and generally not moving that quickly, it becomes very challenging to avoid enemies when they come at you or shoot at you. The grappling hook you have is pretty clunky, and there are things like the hit detection being pretty janky. So not a great game. But for some reason, it saw a whole load of home releases. I won't be featuring anything this week, but do check out Alan's Arcade Perfect My Arse on this, which even has 2 separate versions on the C64. So with this game done, let's take a look at the scores. So for Bionic Commando, we've had 17 people playing, including a return from Pingy and from KMA, who missed our first game. Scores were fairly close and gradually increased up the places. I'm all the way down in 12th. I just couldn't bear putting more time in to push for a bigger score. Charlie Farr is in 10th with a score he got in his first coin drop during a live stream. Colin is in 9th, who streamed his efforts too once again. My Retro Tech, Blue Yak and Mark are all close just ahead. Our top 5 are a little jump ahead too. Robert has done well for 5th. Pingy streamed his efforts too and has finished in 4th. Now that we are running bi-weekly, I think Bob has got a bit more time to play and he's done well again for 3rd. Second is the person who made the video saying he hated this, and if it wasn't for that, we might not even be playing it this week. That's Big Jaffa, with a good effort here. But this week's winner is the chooser of this game, and was always going to be the one to beat. And that once again is Graham 10 Shearers. Well done once again to Graham for an excellent performance, and the only person to achieve a score over 100,000 points. Here is the score distribution. We can see that we're pretty close to a normal distribution, except that we have a couple of gaps. If we had a few more people playing, then there's a good chance those gaps would be filled. The scoring of this game is pretty linear, so maybe no surprises there. We can see how our top 5 have all separated themselves from everyone else, and then our winner Graham separating himself from everyone. Some good performances this week on this stinker of a game. Now the difficulty curve. Here we can see numerous steps with little plateaus in between. This corresponds to those that got to level 2, those that got to level 3, and then Graham at the top that maybe got further. There is definitely some point pressing that can be done on this game, so it's difficult to know how far everyone got by score alone. And finally the progress over the week. Early on it was Juff who was the first to post a decent score, but soon after it was Graham who took the lead, never to be caught. He has dominated proceedings this week and increased his score when some of his previous ones were good enough for the win. Regarding timings of playing, it looks like people were mostly playing on the middle weekend. Often we get a flurry of activity on the first day, but even that was quiet for this one, which I don't think grabbed people's attention. Now that we've completed our second game, we can see how the table is doing. KMA and Pingy are our new entries, with Pingy jumping straight into 7th. Blue Yak is up into 12th after a decent score this week, and my Retro Tech is up to 11th. Pingy got ahead of me, so I'm down to 8th after 2 games I've not really enjoyed hugely. We didn't hear from Alex this week, and he swapped places with Robert, who's up into 4th. In 2nd and 3rd, we have a tie currently between Bob and Juff, but both of them are chunked behind our current leader Graham, having won both of our opening 2 games. Will the gap narrow? Let's now take a look at the next game. So with the letter B done, our next game unsurprisingly will begin with the letter C. I've had 19 games sent to me, and once again there is a diversity of choices. Congo Bongo, Sivan and Cabal each got 2 votes each. Everything else only got 1. Congo Bongo was Graham's choice, so once again his game is trebled in probability, so that gets 4 out of the 21 slots. So let's set things going and see what we get. Okay, there we go. Slowing down. Cadillacs and dinosaurs. Could it be Cabal? Oh, it's just dropped over. So actually, I know nothing about this game. I don't even know what style of game it is. I've never looked at it. I'm going to go look it up, make a video, and be back in a sec. So this week's game is Cabal, developed by TAD Corporation and released by Taito in 1988. This was a suggestion from My Retro Tech, but also selected by Paul. The game is a shooting gallery game, which plays a bit like an isometric version of a fixed shooter. I have to say this game was much more enjoyable than I was expecting. I expected the controls to be a little clunky, and whilst not ideal, they'd still play pretty well. I can see myself enjoying this one. When the game was first released, it came with a trackball to control the aim, but later moved to a joystick. For fairness and ease of access, we will be using the joystick version. So anyone with a cab can play on that, and we don't go down the route of emulating a trackball with a mouse. I'm guessing the reason this got a couple of votes was the home versions, of which there were many. Once again you can see the video from Alan comparing them, with some good showings from the Amiga, C64 and even the Spectrum. As I said, we'll be using the joystick, World ROM version and default settings as usual. For the next game, please send me those beginning with the letter D. There are some cave shmups we could play, including Dangan Feveron or Donpachi. There's Dogyun from Toaplan, lots of dragon related games, including Double Dragon or Dragon Spirit, anything from the Darius series, the list goes on. I'll probably go for Daimahu from Rising, that appeared on the CPS2 and can be played on the Mister. So I hope you all enjoy playing some Cabal, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with the next game. See you then.